Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Slasher Movie Club time, Coriander.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and look, we have finally gotten to that moment. I know you've been waiting for this for God,
Yeah.
I don't even know how many months.
Well, for
I th-
you, who's like a huge Bill Paxton fan, I'm
that's right.
just shocked that this is like your first viewing.
Hey man, it just goes to show you, and that's the beautiful thing about movies is that there's just so many of them, and there's so much
Yeah.
history, and there's so many beginnings for some of these great legends in any
Hmm.
genre. um, but I think the first time that I heard you talk about this, it might have either been on one of our rankings, horror rankings on the old channel, and we also touched upon it when we did an Icons episode on Bill Paxton, which we will definitely redo that. So, anyways, kudos to
Yeah.
you because we're finally talking about
I
Mortuary
know.
from
Right.
1983, guys,
Yeah.
starring. And this is the sad part of it too, a little bit, guys. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Starring the late great Bill Paxton, and also the
And
late great
Christopher
Christopher
George.
George and Linda Day
Yeah.
George. And whenever they're the dynamic duo, man. So anytime they're in a movie together, it's really really cool.
Yeah.
At
Right.
least I just always know that they just have great chemistry. But anyways, um,
Mm.
so yeah, let's get into this thing. Let's see who we have in the chat, and we'll get going on this. Let's see, we got Patrick saying, "Yay, it's Monday night." All right.
Oh no.
Hello, Night Coriander and Jerry. What's going on, Patrick?
Hey. He's right behind me sleeping.
Dan's in the chat saying, I can smell the aftershave and cologne already.
Me
Right?
too. Smells
Ah,
so
yes.
good. Yeah.
Christopher George, man. That's all I got to say is Christopher George.
Right.
David's in the chat saying, it's where nobody rests in peace. Yes. Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes, yes. Flamethrower's in the chat too saying Bill Paxton's first time on film was at a speech on the day JFK was shot. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Wow.
All right. All right. Neil's in the chat saying, "I forgot to watch this one this weekend. Laugh out loud." Yeah, that's okay, man. At least, at least, at least it
No.
was a thought to do it. That's one thing that we're
Right.
we're we're appreciative of, is that you at least thought that you were going to try to do it. That's great. But
Right.
Coriander, let's get into this thing,
Yeah.
man. Mortuary from
Mm.
1983. This is definitely, I would say, kind of a forgotten gem in the
Yeah,
horror
this is a fun
genre.
one. Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people have problem with like the pacing, but
Hmm.
I certainly didn't. I enjoyed this movie from start to finish.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's an interesting movie because I think the first half of it, it really kind of leans into like a psychological thriller. And then the
Yeah.
second half of it, it definitely goes, full into a slasher type of movie. And I gotta admit,
Oh
it's a,
yeah.
it's a, it's a fun watch. It really, really is. Like the
Yeah.
movie, the movie is doing more with less. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not
Yeah.
there's
You've got a cult,
yep.
in this. And of course the mortuary
Hmm.
and Bill Paxton. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any
Yeah.
better.
But, the movie starts off and, again, first time watch, and it's kind of like, okay, what's going on? And you see these two guys,
Yeah.
they're friends and they're pulling up to this warehouse, and, basically you kind of knew that the hijinks were going to ensue. And they're going through
Mhm.
this warehouse to get these tires, these spare tires that one of the kids, he says that he was owed before he was fired. And of course,
Yeah.
they're right next door to a mortuary, and they're finding coffins and all that type of stuff. And unbeknownst to them, as you can see in this shot, there's a body in this coffin. Now,
Yeah.
I also want to reference that scene where you see this swimming pool, really nice house, and a swimming pool. And this
Yeah, at the
guy,
beginning.
he gets attacked, hit with a baseball bat. And a lot of
He's
this is,
he was a psychiatrist,
yeah,
right?
but we don't know that yet.
Okay, right.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, but he gets hit with a baseball bat and it's in slow motion
Yeah.
and it's just kind of got a weird vibe. The reason I wanted to bring it up before we get into the real intro of the story is that it just had this weird vibe, like a very psychological type of vibe. It reminded me of other things that we've seen, like, whether it's Double Exposure or Too Scared to Scream or Dressed to Kill. It just has that kind of psychological feeling to it. Plus the score was
Mhm.
actually pretty good. I was impressed with the
Yeah.
musical score. So, anyways,
Yep.
but you got these two kids. They're basically trying to deal with these tires, and it's kind of played for laughs in a way, and unbeknownst to them, because we as the viewer we can see that there's a body right beside them and so forth, and you're just waiting for that other ball to drop, literally.
Mm.
But like you were saying, they happen upon this seance and it's all creepy, and I'm thinking, again, first time watch, and I'm thinking, where is this movie going? You know what I mean? And
Right?
and there we are right there, the dynamic duo. And
Yeah.
again, you're a huge fan. I am as well. Christopher George, he just always makes a movie better, doesn't he?
He does. He really does.
I don't
And
care. Yeah, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say it doesn't matter what kind of role he's playing in this
Yeah.
movie. He's definitely a side character, important in some ways, but he doesn't get a lot
Mhm.
of screen time, which might be the only thing that I would say is a downer about this movie. Is it was not enough
Mhm.
Christopher George, but in this
And at
movie
first
he's
he's kind of shady too.
well, that's what I'm yeah,
So,
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not really playing a heroic role,
Mhm.
that we can see of anyways. And that's also part of the mystery of
Mhm.
this movie, which is cool. But let me throw it to you though. Now, obviously they happen upon the seance. What
Yep.
what were you thinking at this point in the movie when you first saw it? Because you're a big fan of this film.
Hey, like these kids, it's like, what the hell's going on? You
Hmm.
see the kid's boss, former boss, and the other kid's girlfriend's mother, and it's like, what the hell's going on here? And
Right.
yeah, your head starts spinning because you don't know, because there's so many different, cults, whether it's
Right.
good or bad.
Yeah.
So,
And then the thing that we see is, you've got these two leads, and they're basically just kind of hamming it up. They have no idea, and you're laughing. It's true, man. They're
I
hamming it
know.
up.
Yep.
They have no idea what's going on. And Greg is the one who's totally oblivious. He's watching the seance where
Yeah.
his buddy
Right.
who was it Josh kind of
Yeah.
goes off. He's getting the wheels, the
Hmm.
tires and so forth. And yeah, in this scene, and he gets attacked by a hooded figure.
Well, before that, right, he finally sees the body and he opens the
Right.
casket. And
Mhm.
that
Yep.
makes him run, and that's when he was attacked. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He sees in the casket someone that he
Mhm.
recognizes, and he gets
Yep.
attacked by a hooded figure who we see
Mhm.
throughout the movie, and
Yeah.
we'll get to that too. But
But
anyways,
yeah.
go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead. No, because I don't wanna say it too soon, so go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Um, but he gets attacked. Now, Greg doesn't know it. He's still watching the séance and he's still like
Yeah.
wrapped up in that. But all of a sudden, he notices that the van, Josh's van, drives away. And he's like,
Mhm.
"Why is he leaving me?" And so anyway, so he doesn't know that his buddy got killed is the bottom line, which was a pretty
Yep.
good beginning. So then,
Yep.
did you have what you want to say? Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say he got locked in that room too. He got locked in,
Yep.
and then he, like, saw that his buddy supposedly took off. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So then it kind of cuts away from that, and Greg is hanging out with his girlfriend, and they're all like, "Well, where's Josh?" He's like, "I don't know. He's gone." You know what I mean? He left me. Now, this is when we
Yeah.
get introduced to Christy, who is basically the lead of the movie, and
Yeah.
she's just like, well, okay, whatever, whatever. That's Mary McDonough, who by the way, famous from the Waltons. And I knew that I knew her from something. And I was like, yeah, she was on the Waltons for like friggin' 6, 7 years. Did you remember
See,
that?
I never got into the Waltons. I was a Little
Okay.
House fan. Yeah,
Okay.
I
All
the
right.
Waltons never really did it for me.
Yeah. So they're at this roller rink with three of their buddies here, and they're just
Mhm.
basically hamming it up. This was a funny sequence in a way because you got this, they're at a roller rink, and so you've got the cheesy 80s music in the background, probably a little dated for 1983. But and look at this guy in the background in the leather. Like what
I know.
I
I
hope
was
he got
just looking at.
I hope he got paid a lot of money. I know this is a still shot, but even when I was watching the
Oh
movie,
man.
at first, I was like, "Is this guy the killer?" Because he definitely had this suspect look on his
It's
face,
so
right?
funny because I've never noticed them until now because I always just paid attention to the group of people and not the dude in
Yes.
the background.
Right? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
that's
So,
funny.
anyways, um, you know what I mean? Patrick's like hamming it up. Yeah, they were hamming it up, man. But so anyways, so they have no idea what happened to Josh. And so that kind of hangs over the movie. And
Mhm.
obviously it plays later on. But then, they show them in school and we finally get, one of our first opportunities to see the legendary, the great,
Yeah.
late great Bill Paxton. And he
Right?
plays
Look at
a
that
class.
smile.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, anybody who's watched this channel long enough, they know that all of us are absolutely
Yeah.
huge fans of Bill Paxton. And it was so
Right.
great to see him in this movie. But he plays Paul, a classmate of Christy and
Yeah.
Greg's. And he's
Yep.
kind of like that dorky guy. Like he comes up to
He is.
Christy.
He made me chuckle throughout this movie. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed his character. So yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like that dorky guy that is
Yep.
just he's a nice guy though, and he comes up to her after class and he's like, "Hey, I just got some Mozart. You want to go listen to some?" And da 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 da. He's a
Right.
huge Mozart fan, and
Yep.
she's nice. She's nice to him or whatever. But she's dating
Yeah.
Greg, so it's
Yep.
fine. Everything's fine at that point, right?
Mhm.
So we think. The other thing I want to say too, this movie came out in '83. This was
Yep.
still a whole year before Bill Paxton had that small throwaway role in the legendary Terminator, you know? And it's
Mm.
just funny when you see some of these actors, and you see their career and it's just so funny that again, I didn't know of this movie. So it's funny to think
Mhm.
of something that he was in before Terminator because that was really one of the first times that I can remember ever seeing Bill Paxton and he was memorable even in that small little role. But this
Yeah.
movie, you can make a case. You can make a case that this is
Yeah.
his movie. You know what I mean?
It is. That's the thing. It
Yeah.
is. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Flamethrower saying, my parents told me to stay away from vans like the one in this movie. Isn't that true? That is so true.
See, I'd love to have a van like that.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if someone's driving one down the street and no one else is around, I wouldn't be near the van. I'd get away from the van.
I'd be
Um,
like,
Da-
sweet. No.
Dan says Paxton does a funny little hop after he gets rejected and runs away. That tells you he is a little odd. Yes, he is.
Yes, in the
Yes.
cemetery, that was like my favorite scene in that whole
Yes.
movie.
Yeah,
Oh
he
my god.
definitely had all these little flourishes that he put into this role. This role, he
Yes.
was very good in this role.
Right.
You're constantly laughing. What are you
I
doing?
know, because I'm sorry, because I'm just thinking about it. And yeah. Okay. Ooh, my
But
cheeks are even getting sore.
so anyways, but let's get through this a little bit because Christy and Greg, they basically,
Yeah.
they have a relationship and everything's cool.
Hmm.
And we learn that Bill Paxton is actually the son of Christopher George. And we
Yeah,
also
who
learn that
owns
Christopher.
the mortuary? Yes.
Right. So that
Yep.
that starts to kind of play into it a little bit as well because it's like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. So obviously
Yep.
he has this competitive thing going on with Greg, and
Hmm.
you can kind of tell in their dialogue. It's not necessarily, like they're not, I don't know, going at each other, but there's that little bit of tension because obviously Greg is dating the girl that Bill Paxton wants to be with. But
Yep.
that's only the beginning. We start to get into a whole bunch of stuff with Christy where we learn that she still got the PTSD. We learned that that was her father in the beginning of the movie that got
Yeah.
attacked at the
Yeah.
swimming pool and got
He was
murdered.
killed. Yep.
Yes. So she's got a lot of PTSD about that.
Mhm.
And she starts to have conversation with her mother. Guess who is her mother, Coriander?
Your
Yes,
girl. Yeah.
Linda Day George.
Yep.
Hello. I mean, look,
Yeah.
this movie had so many great actors in it. I could not believe. I mean, you literally
Yeah.
had a nice, awesome cast. But anyways, her
And
her
both
mother.
both yeah, can I just say too, both
Yeah.
George and Linda, they both played like characters that you're not used to at first.
Yeah.
Because you're even thinking like, wow, yeah, her husband died and
Hmm.
she's, treating her daughter like this and it's like,
Yes.
yeah, you question things. So, yeah.
That's a good point because in the beginning of the movie, Linda Day George really seemed like a jerk,
She did.
because you automatically sympathize with Christy being the
Yeah.
daughter and
The poor
having her
girl found her
father.
dad dead in the pool. What do
Yeah.
you expect,
So
man?
you
Yeah.
really sympathize with her, and so Linda Day
Yeah.
George really seems very cold-hearted, saying, you're just having nightmares again, and this and this and
Yeah.
that. But the part that was the and Flamethrower says was Linda about 11 years old when she had her. They really did seem like they were close in age, didn't they? But whatever. Um, it is what it is, man. But
Right?
here's the part I want to get into as we get further along in the discussion. To me, one of the first scenes that really took this movie into that psychological horror thriller zone, so to speak, was when we saw Christy having the nightmare and she was sleepwalking. We realized that she sleepwalks,
Yeah.
and she
Yep.
literally, it would the creepy music was there, the lighting was good. Again, Mary
Mhm.
McDonough did a great job, as playing Christy and playing someone who is feeling a lot of the trauma from this situation. But anyways, she's sleepwalking, Coriander. She
Yeah.
goes outside, and that's all fine and dandy, but she starts going into the swimming pool. Now, I didn't know a
Yeah.
lot about sleepwalking, but I thought as soon as she started to hit that water, she was going to wake up. But guess what? She doesn't wake up, Coriander. She keeps walking forward and forward,
Right?
and she starts to go to the point where it starts to cover her head. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess the point I'm trying to make, whether or not that's, realistic for Sleepwalker, I think it could be. But as
Yeah.
a viewer, I was like, "No, don't keep walking," you know what I mean? And she gets to the
Right?
point
Once
where
that water hit her nose, it snapped her out of it.
yes, it snapped
It
her out
woke
of
her
it.
right up. Yep.
Yeah. And so she comes out of the swimming pool, she's all, shook up and she doesn't know what's going on. And then she sees a figure. Now, at this point in the movie, too, you're also wondering, is what she's seeing real, or is it part of her PTSD? Is it part of her imagination? You know what I mean? She runs into the house, she's all frantic, she's scared, which of course makes sense. And then, of course, Linda Day George is playing this straight, like saying, hey, it's part of your dreams, it's part of your nightmares and
Yeah.
this and that.
Yep.
And you really get a sense of how these two go back and forth, with this tragedy that befell their family. What did you
Mhm.
first of all, what did you think of this scene? Was it creepy to you, or how did it come off?
Well, yeah, because even before she went outside, you had the dude in the cloak, creeping around the house. So
Hmm.
he could have attacked her at any moment. And the fact
Right.
that he didn't and just watched and yeah, and yeah, these two, their relationship, yeah, like you say, it starts out where it's like she's not very caring, but then, you get this scene where she's trying to understand and trying to make her daughter realize too that, you know, with your dream and walking and having your nightmares and everything she's gone through, it's
Hmm.
hard. I could see how she wouldn't really believe that someone was out there. Did you
Right.
really see him?
Right.
So, and like I said, the relationship does warm up and you start realizing things aren't what they are. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good mystery in that
Yeah.
sense. But while all of that is happening, she's obviously still a young person. You have some
Yep.
scenes with her and Greg, and he's trying to figure her out. You could
Mhm.
tell he was a good kid. I actually
Yeah.
enjoyed his character, and
Okay.
he was just trying to be supportive of her, but also trying to keep
Yep.
her rooted in reality. Now,
Yeah.
the swimming pool scene, that was pretty creepy, but then you had that other scene where she's sleepwalking, she's going through the house, and again that hooded figure, and we start to kind of see the hooded figure a little bit better at Coriander.
Yeah, you know
and
who it is.
and they
Like I
they
knew
were.
who it was in the first scene when
Yes.
his buddy got killed.
Yeah, I mean, they were not, that was one thing about this movie that was interesting. They definitely were not hiding the fact that this is Bill Paxton. And like you,
Yes.
I figured that out right off in the beginning. It was
Right.
totally like, yeah, that's who it is. It's not even a
Yeah.
question. Um
Right.
but the background of it is what is interesting to me. But you have that scene where he's basically
Yeah.
calling to her, from the window, and she's in a trance. She's got a knife.
Yes.
She's standing at the window, and she
Yep.
actually tries to slash at the window, cuts her hand up. And I was just like,
Mhm.
what the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
and she's so messed up, you feel bad for her. And again, this is all psychological stuff,
Right.
you know? I
I'd be
mean, it
tying her up in bed. She's going out in the pool in her
mhm.
sleep. You know what I mean? For her own safety. I
Yeah.
mean, look, she's holding it at
She
her mother. It's like, come
Yes.
on, man.
Yeah, I
Snap
gotta
out of
admit.
it. You got to wake up.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, at this point in the movie, I was almost wondering if she was gonna slash at her mom, because again, you still are in the
Right.
dark. You're still in the dark with a lot of different things in the movie, especially her. And of course,
Yeah.
her mother is trying to console her and saying, "Hey, you got to wake up. It didn't happen like that. You're dreaming."
Mhm.
And again, Linda Day George. At this point, Linda Day George's character started to change a little bit, which again I
Yeah.
thought was really cool. But it also showed, obviously, the acting level was very good, but also that the script was pretty good, to kind of have these different
Yeah.
layers, you know
Yeah.
and so all of a sudden her mother is totally, and it's not all of a sudden we figure out why, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is you can see that Linda Day George is really trying to help her daughter, really cares about her daughter, and she's like
Mhm.
brought her to the window saying, look, there's no one out there, and she's just trying to
Mhm.
talk to her and so forth. And they just but basically kind of come to an understanding at this point in the movie, which was kind of
Mhm.
cool, and I appreciated that. And they're
Mhm.
having a drink together, and I'm like, wow, this is really, really
Right.
cool. They
Yeah.
kind of made up, and stuff like that. What were you thinking of
Yeah.
their relationship at this point in the movie?
Well, it made you feel a little bit better,
Yeah.
because I'm a caring, person. So my children, you know, I would do anything for my kids.
Right.
So to see someone who doesn't feel the same about your children,
Yeah.
a being that you grew in your belly and gave birth to, it's like I don't know how people can do some of the shit that they do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
But before that too, we also have those scenes where Christy and Greg are spying on her mother, and they
Yeah.
realize that her mother was actually a part of that seance. And
Yeah.
they see it again, but they see that she's hanging out with Christopher George,
Mhm.
Paul's father, and he's the owner of the mortuary, and they're trying to figure out, what's the deal. But when they listen in on the seance, they realize that what her mother was doing was actually trying to contact her dead husband, Christy's father.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, anyways, it starts to make sense. It looked a little
Yeah.
suspect in a lot of
Yeah.
different ways, but then you
Yeah.
realize the reason that she's sneaking around is because she's doing something that is kind of, out there a little bit, and
Yeah.
she's trying to talk to her dead husband, and also trying to, and you get a sense of she's trying to figure out, how did you die? Were you murdered? Were you
Mhm.
killed? And
Yeah,
so,
because she starts believing her daughter, because her daughter
right,
always thought that this is shady.
right.
That her husband and her father was murdered.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And real quick too, Flamethrower was saying, I knew when he kept saying game over. Game over, man. Patrick saying, Catching a buzz with mom, right? Yeah.
Right.
Dan saying lots of time spent in underwear in this movie. Yeah, right? Anytime you have sleepwalking, you know. But,
Oh,
you know,
shoot.
that being said, I do want to take a quick moment because, for you guys that have been watching the channel, obviously, we kind of spend time on different movies and different things that we're doing throughout the week. And I had a little revelation, Coriander. This is kind of we're going to kind of go on
Ooh,
the side a little bit with this, but
okay.
it was a very psychological movie in the beginning, right? A
Mhm.
lot of dream sequences and
Yeah.
darkness, and like Dan was saying, you're in your underwear and it's kind of creepy. And I thought to myself, what other director might have gotten some
Oh, no.
inspiration from this, right? And then let's take a look at the hooded figure. The hooded
Oh,
figure,
no.
he's got a black hood and a
Are
white
you talking about
face.
Scream? Come on. Is that where you're
Wes
going with this?
Craven. Wes Craven, the late
Yeah.
great master of suspense, Wes Craven. I gotta wonder if he took some inspiration, because what I'm getting at is those scenes with Christy sleepwalking, and we didn't know if what she saw was real or not. Was it a dream or was it not? Tina in Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Oh, no.
Right? Now come on. I mean,
Maybe.
seriously. And
Hey.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, I mean, it really had those types of vibes. And look, this is Ghostface before Ghostface. Come on, man. He literally had a black hood on and his face was
Oh,
painted white.
man.
Come on, man. I just wanted to throw that out there because I
Only
was
you.
I was getting those vibes, man. But listen, I mean,
Right?
we're talking about legends and legends. There's no shame in it.
Mhm.
Wes Craven, Bill Paxton, Christopher George. I mean, these guys, they're the best of the best, and they always will be. But anyways,
Yeah.
let's see what we got going on in the chat. You didn't follow me on that, girl. Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
But you get what I mean as far as the
Oh,
connections,
yeah.
possibly. Yeah, okay.
I sure. Yeah.
Hobbs is in the chat saying, "Yo, what's up, folks?
Hello.
What's going on, Hobbs? How you doing, man? Nice to see you." Let's see what else we got here. And you guys saying hello to each other. That's very cool. But anyways, that was some of the parallels I was getting. But anyways, let's get back to the story here. So
Okay.
Christy and her mom, they make up, and it's so cool, right?
Yeah.
But then, and this is where it really goes into slasher mode. You've got Paul,
Yeah, man.
who comes into the house, and oh my
Yes.
God, total spoilers, guys. If you have not seen Mortuary and you do not
Mm.
want to know the big spoilers, the ones
Yeah.
that
Stop
that
watching.
this is the time to pause. This really
Yeah,
is the time
mute.
to pause.
Right.
Well, you might as well just jump off for a while, and because we're going to be talking about it for a while. But he comes into the house and he attacks Christie's mom. He attacks the
Yeah.
legendary Linda
And
Day
his favorite
George.
damn tool, that embalming tool, whatever the hell
Yeah,
that is.
yeah. It's
Damn.
basically, yeah,
That looked rough.
an embalming
Yeah.
rod. Yeah, and he basically
Yeah.
stabs her like
Mm.
80,000
And
times,
he's
man.
like twisting it and,
Yes.
yeah, it just
I
looks
couldn't
damn.
I couldn't believe it, man. I'm like,
Me
"Holy
neither.
crap. He
You
killed
feel
Linda
so
Day
bad?
George."
Yeah, and not only that, but this poor girl had her father killed like months
Yes.
ago, maybe a
Mhm.
year ago. I don't know how long it's been.
Right.
Now her mother, it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
And they had
that's
just made
tragic.
up. Yeah, and they had just made up because also, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but Christy apologized to her mom and said, "Look, I know I've been, very difficult to deal
Yeah.
with and very, non-appreciative, and but I know you did love Dad, and blah 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 blah." It was basically,
Yeah.
they made up, and it was cool because they both saw eye
Yeah.
to eye for the first time in the movie.
Mhm.
But anyways, Linda
Yeah.
Day George, she gets killed.
Yeah,
Bill
she did.
Paxton is in the house, and of course,
There he is.
we get a chase scene. He's coming after Christie, and I gotta admit,
Yep.
man, there were a couple times where it was really, really effective because he was coming out of the woodwork. He was literally
Yeah.
coming
Like
out of the
the
dark.
picture you're showing, exactly.
Yeah, it was
That
very
white
effective.
face.
Hey,
Yep.
look, man, I'm like I said, and people can
Oh,
say what they
gee.
want. but I will make a short on this. But this is totally ghost face. Come on, Wes
Oh my
and Kevin
god.
Williamson. I see you. But but you really can make the parallels to things like that and Freddy Krueger. I mean, but
Yeah.
needless to say, it's a chase scene. He captures her. He knocks her out.
Mhm.
With whatever it is, and he takes her. And I'm like, what the heck? Now, while all of this is happening, I'm like, where the fuck is Greg? You know, you got to check on
Yeah.
your girlfriend. And he does. He
Well,
comes
they
back.
kind of broke up, remember?
Well,
So,
yeah, she basically said we need some time apart. But I
mhm.
think I think he knew in the back of his mind, I got to keep an eye on this chick.
Yeah.
She's a little unstable, but long story short, he comes back to the house and he sees the mortuary vehicle driving off and he knew right then and there. He's
Yeah.
like, I know where
He
I got to
turned
go.
around. Yeah, he
He
was
turned
smart to
around.
turn around and follow. Yep.
Yep. And you've got Paul, who's bringing in the bodies of Christy and her mom. Now, Christy's still alive, but she's just knocked out. She's sedated. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, oh, this is not. You knew where this was going to go, Coriander. It's like, oh my goodness. So,
Yeah.
and we had seen scenes earlier in the movie where him and Christopher George were basically talking about the process that they go through with dead
Mhm.
bodies and embalming and so forth and so forth. And this is where
Mhm.
Bill Paxton really shined. I mean, the last, what, 15, 18 minutes of this movie is totally on Bill. And
Yep.
this not only was it slasher style, but you know what else I got little shades of? It
Mm.
totally made me think of Psycho, Norman Bates, the
Yeah.
great, the late great aunt. It's kind of sad to say, but we're saying late great to a lot of these folks, but
Yeah.
that's just the
Cuz
way it
his
is. But
plan yeah, cuz his plan was for her was to kill her and embalm her and keep her forever, just
right.
like Norman wanted to. Yeah. I
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
but the other thing about it too, not even just that part of it, but he really was a nice guy, in a lot of the movie, or at least not a psycho,
He was
but it just showed,
pretending to be, right?
well, true,
Because
but
he
I
really was a psycho. Because,
well,
right, you gotta
yes,
remember that part too where he had an obsession with her
right,
and her father, his psychiatrist, wanted to put him away for his protection and his daughter's protection.
right.
And y'all find out that he also killed her father because
Well,
he wanted to put him away and he
yeah,
didn't
well,
want to get taken away from his girl.
right. Well, but
So,
we find that out later. But what I was trying to say before that reveal is
oh no.
you could see that he was a kind person because in the scene coming up with Christopher George, he does something where you see the psychotic side of him, but immediately you see the regular side of him. You get what I'm saying? Like Norman Bates was like that too. Like he could flip in
Yeah.
a second.
He had his
That
moments. Yep.
Right. That's what I meant by that, is that you could definitely see
Yeah.
there are two sides to his personality, very much like
Yeah.
Norman Bates. But anyways, so he's going to embalm her, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, Christopher George comes in and he's like, "Well, what are you doing?" And again, this was
Right.
another scene that was really really rough because that's when you find out that about his obsession and how Christy's
Mhm.
father was his psychiatrist and wanted to put him away.
Yep.
Christopher George said, "No, I'm going to take care of my son." Blah blah blah. Everything you had just said a couple minutes before, and
Mhm.
I got this sense that this was not going to end well for the legendary Christopher George because
Yeah, man.
Paul Paul starts talking about, you know, I had to kill this, the psychiatrist, Christy's father, and he's like, he was in my way, and other people are in my way too, and that's when he reveals
Yeah.
because he had pulled the sheets over Linda Day George and Christy, and that's when he
Yep.
reveals that he killed Christy's mom, and he's going to
Yep.
embalm her so that they could be together forever. They're going to have a
Married.
wedding ceremony.
Yes.
The
Right.
look the look on Christopher George's face was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit." And
Yeah, I should have had you committed. Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh man, this is going to be
Yeah.
rough, man." I could just see
Yep.
it. I could see it. Uh Real quick, Patrick was saying, I was thinking The Devil's Rain more than Scream. I've never seen The Devil's Rain, but the reason I'm saying Scream is this. Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street were directed by Wes Craven, and I got vibes of Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream in this. You know what I mean? Plus, the whole idea of the mystery. You've got the final girl, and there's this mystery around her, and she's trying to find out about it. So it just had that vibe to me. But you know, but I've never seen The Devil's Rain. I'll have to check that out maybe. Yeah. Hobbs was saying, "Scream is Life" came out when I was a freshman in high school. Yeah, man, the movie. I'm telling you, the whole franchise. It's been such a popular thing for so long. It's crazy. But anyways,
Yeah.
bottom line, Christopher George is like, oh crap, this is bad news. And Bill Paxton
Mhm.
again was masterful. He was so creepy, he was scary, he was crazy, and he kills his father. And
Yeah, he did.
this is the point I was alluding to. As soon as he killed his father and he was crazy and he meant to do it, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to do it." So you get what I'm saying? Is
Yeah.
that's the Norman Bates right there. Because as soon
Mm,
as Norman would kill, he'd be like, "Oh God, Mother, what did you do? What did you do?" So that's what I
mhm.
mean about that whole parallel to Norman Bates. But of course, all this is happening, and Greg finally shows up. I'm like,
Right?
I liked him as a character, but he was a
Oh,
little slow in
man.
the uptake. But he finally shows up, and I'm like, you got to save your girlfriend. So there's this confrontation between the two of them, and it's
Mhm.
like, come on, you got an axe, you can take out Bill Paxton, can't you? Not exactly, because it's like they're going back and forth. But
Yeah.
this was the part, Coriander, that really got me, man, because he's telling Paul, Paul is telling Greg, I'm going to marry Christy. We're going to be together forever. Why don't you come and join the ceremony? And sure enough,
Mm,
you realize that what Paul did is oh God, he's got all the dead bodies, man, hanging around as if it's like a wedding
mhm,
ceremony. He's got his mother, he's got Linda Day George, he's got his father,
mhm.
he's got Josh, the kid from the beginning of the movie, and it's like, oh my goodness, he has Christy dressed up in a gown. It was so creepy.
Yep.
Reminded me a little bit of Happy Birthday to Me. Remember the ending of Happy
The
Birthday to Me?
ending, certainly. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like,
Right.
wow. Real quick too, in the chat, Patrick was saying mausoleum is life. That was a good one. You know, I think we might be doing that one at some point in the future. Yeah.
It's not in the
Uh,
book, I've checked.
oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah,
So we'd have
we
to do
could,
that all on our own. Yeah.
yeah,
Just throw it
or
in the
we could just
mix.
add it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hobbs saying the opening sequence from Elm Street and Scream set the tone of the film. That's true, man. Those opening scenes were amazing for both movies. We've got Kenyon in the chat saying, "What's up, Knight? How's it going, bro? Pretty good, man. Pretty good. We're just talking about horror movies. That's all we're doing." But Mortuary it's a horror classic, man. It really really is.
Yeah.
We got Katie. Katie's in the chat too, saying,
Hello.
"Hi, friends. What's going, Katie? How you doing?" Patrick saying, "Shades of Tourist Trap." That's a great point.
Yeah.
It did have shades of Tourist Trap. I definitely agree with that, Patrick. Yeah. We got Cryptomeria's in the chat. What's going on? Saying, "I have to see this film."
Yes,
Yes,
you do.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It's a great film, and Bill Paxton was amazing in it. Flamethrower saying Paul was cool enough to invite her ex. Kudos, Paul. Right? That's too funny. But yeah, but I mean, the end of this movie was just bonkers because he literally has everyone sitting around like it's a damn wedding party. Now, here's where it
Yeah.
gets even crazier, guys. And here's another I guess major spoiler. Katie wakes up from her sedation. I'm sorry, Christy wakes
Yep.
up from her sedation. She gets up, but she's sleepwalking, Coriander. She's friggin' sleepwalking again. This chick is sleepwalking all day long. It's crazy. But
Right.
if it's the movie, let me ask
Mhm.
you this. As we start to head to the finale of this movie, what were you thinking was going to happen when she sat up like that? What do you think was going to happen?
At first, you really didn't know because,
Hmm.
but I mean, I don't know. She's kind of aware of what's going on. So, she goes for that axe and she becomes a hero.
Well, yeah, she grabs the axe because Bill Paxton at this point, has Greg, pretty
Yeah.
much dead to rights. And look, it's like
Yeah.
Greg, you gotta learn how to fight, man. Seriously. I mean, you had an axe and everything.
That
And
pretty blonde hair won't save you now.
right. I'm
No.
like, come on, man, you gotta man up a little bit. But anyways, but she
Right.
does. She takes the axe and she chops into the back of Bill Paxton. He goes to the
Yeah.
ground. She wakes up from the
Didn't she
trance, and
like
it's
get him
like,
in his
wow.
head, right?
Um, it might
I
have been in
think
the head.
so.
I know it was also in the back too, because I was like, ah,
Yeah.
just gross. But
Yeah. It was pretty juicy.
she basically does save the day, right? So everybody's
She
all
did.
happy, everything's all cool. Now you know this, Coriander. As I'm watching this movie, I'm looking at these people and
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, they look so lifelike. You know, they're sitting around for this wedding that's going to happen. By the way, that scene where Bill Paxton is being the conductor, and you've
Yeah.
got the Mozart playing in the background, that was great.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton was crazy as
Right.
hell in this movie. It was great.
Like I said, yeah, I absolutely loved him in this movie. So yeah,
Yeah, he was
I got a
great.
kick out of him. All right.
But I'm looking around, Corey, and I'm looking at all these people. You've got, all these people that have been killed and so forth, sitting around.
Mhm.
Linda Day George, Christopher George, which is Paul's father. You've got the psychiatrist, which is Christy's father. You've got Josh, the friend of Greg and Christy, and you also
Mhm.
have Paul's mother, who they said had committed suicide, but we've come to find out that they faked her death. They faked her death. So I was like, wow, everything was just looking suspect to me, Coriander. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the mother stands up,
Yep.
screams, and runs at Christy and Greg. And then
Mm.
it cuts, fade to black.
Yeah.
I was like,
Right.
bravo,
Right.
bravo. What? And it's funny too because now maybe they did it on purpose, but while Christy was coming to save Greg, which is so funny that
Mhm.
she saved her boyfriend. I'm not just saying that's a bad thing, but it was just funny because
Mm.
he came in there thinking he was going to save her, but it was really him who needed saving. But
Right.
while that was happening and they showed the mother, it looked like her eyes moved, and I was like, and it played with my mind because I was like, well, she's supposed to be dead. So it's so funny. I wonder if it was on purpose to make people like myself wonder. And then of course at the end you're like, oh man, they got me. But yeah, the mother
Yeah.
jumps up with the knife in her hand because Paul had put the knife in her hand
Mhm.
before he was attacked anyways, saying, you're gonna cut the cake, mom. And you're just thinking he's just fucking crazy because his mother is dead, just like Norman
Right.
Bates, with mother. And you didn't think anything of it. But like I said, at the end, she gets up and she screams and lunges at Christy and Greg, and then it cuts to black. And I'm just like, good job, guys. Good job, Ghostface. Good job. Good job.
Oh
It's
no.
like,
Right.
it's true. But no, seriously,
That was dumb.
this movie had a lot of different layers to it, all seriousness.
Yeah.
And it was a fun slasher with a little bit of a
It was.
psychological thriller in it. It was
Yeah.
very, very fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Let me just catch up to the chat here too, see what these guys are talking about. Cryptomaria was saying, I've been so busy, but I came in to say how jelly I am over Coriander's cooking. Evil tease.
Aw, thanks.
Patrick saying, I love Slasher Club. We do too,
Aw,
Patrick.
right?
We do too. And hopefully we'll keep this thing going. Crypto saying, thank you for a wonderful channel and happy Festivus. This film is a great find. Thank you so much. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. And we
Have a
really
happy
do.
holiday.
Yeah, have a happy holiday. We'll be doing at least one, if not two more live streams this week. We wanted to kind of just touch base with folks for the holidays because we know there's some folks that they might be busy, but they really do enjoy seeing content and seeing some of their favorite channels and so forth. So we wanted to make sure we at least did something this week. So hopefully we'll have, if not one, but two more episodes this week. We're thinking Wednesday and Friday. So, but if we don't see you, Crypto, thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Happy
Yeah.
New Year, Happy Festivus.
Yeah.
Flamethrower saying it was almost a reverse Indigo Montoya with the mother. Yes, I like that. Holy crap. That is The Princess Bride is in the house. That is great. I did not even think of it like that. I love that scene. I used to quote that all the time. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. It's great. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Right?
Uh Hobbs saying, awesome guys, this does help. Hey man, thanks a lot, man. And you know,
Yeah.
and by the way, too, Hobbs, thanks so much for, just always being supportive. I
Supportive.
know
Yeah.
I was saying that in the last couple of streams we've done, but also when Patrick had me on doing the discussion, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you, man. We really do, and we hope that
Yeah.
everyone, this could be a tough time of the year for everyone. A lot of people are busy. A
Yeah.
lot of people are dealing with, maybe not being able to always be around everyone and family. But we hope that that we can provide at least something that people can enjoy, and as well as so many other great content creators. So we're glad that it helps. And yeah,
Yeah.
man, happy holidays, brother. um
Mhm.
he's saying it's nice to catch up. And Patrick saying, yep, Hobbs is awesome. He is, man. Like we were saying the other night, Patrick, so many great people in this community, Hobbs being one of them. And like I said,
Yeah.
man, we're all in this together. So you know where we're at if you ever need an ear. So,
That's
but
right. Ah,
but yeah, man, this movie is great. I don't want to keep saying the same old thing, but you guys know I love me some Bill Paxton. Coriander loves Christopher George, and so do I. And this is just great, man. So if you haven't seen Mortuary, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, definitely check it out. I mean,
yeah.
it's a fun time.
It
And when I say
is.
fun, I don't want to belittle the horror of it because it's there, but it's got so many layers that I
Yeah.
had fun with it. And
Bill makes it fun.
he
His
does.
character. Yes.
Oh, he was so damn quirky. It was great. And like I
Right.
said, just the parallels that I felt with him and Norman Bates, it's just like wow.
Mm,
But yeah, if you're a Bill Paxton fan, you definitely got to check this out. There's no doubt about that. But
right.
anyways, Coriander, you know what we do at the end of this thing? We talk about
Uh-huh.
what we think of the movie, and we talk about whether we think it's a buy it, a rent it, a maybe rent it, or a forget it. What do we want to
Yeah.
give Mortuary?
I own it. So y'all need to buy it and own it. So yeah.
All right. Yes. And I do also agree. It's a buy it. It's not even, I don't even have to think about it. This is a movie that if you're a horror fan, especially a slasher fan or a Bill Paxton fan or Christopher George fan or
Yeah.
any of that, you got to
Yep.
have this. You got to
Yeah,
have
you
it.
do.
You really
Yep.
do. So that's our thought on that. Next week, Coriander, next week on
Yeah.
Slasher Movie Club, we're going to be diving back into Sweet 16. So that should be
Okay.
really, really cool. As far as I know, it is available on Tubi. So for you guys in the chat, this is the movie that we're going to be talking about next week. If you get a chance to watch it, that'd be great, and then we can have that type of discussion. But I do believe it
Yeah.
is on Tubi, so it's free, guys. There's
Mm,
nothing cheaper than free. Um, and
right.
this is a movie
Unless
that
you own it,
well, that's true
then
too.
it's even better.
That's
Right.
true too. Um, I did see this movie a long time ago, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I forgot all about it. So this will be.
I haven't
Uh,
seen this. This will
you
be a new one for
haven't?
me. No.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So this will be pretty much a blind watch for me. But yeah, again, next week, Monday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be talking about Sweet 16. It should be a lot of fun. And let's see what else we got in the chat before we head on out here. I want to make sure that I just make sure I don't forget anyone here. Hobbs was saying, likewise, this community, I consider you all family. Oh man, yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
man. I mean, look, where else do you get a chance to talk about things that you love, like movies and music and art
Yeah.
and TV, all these other things that we talk about. You don't get it, at least for me, I don't get a chance
Connects
in
us all.
yeah, you
So
know,
yeah.
and we really get a chance to have fun with it, learn from each other, talk with each other,
Mhm.
connect with each other. I mean, I've said this many times,
Yeah.
but doing YouTube, I think it helped me so much through the lockdown, especially, the early part of the pandemic, which was such a tough time for everyone. So I'm so glad that,
Definitely.
we joined this community. I'm really glad. Hob saying agreed, buy it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Patrick saying buy it, yes. And Mr.
Mhm.
Dan saying I'll check it out. Yeah, man,
Good.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Waffles, Waffles is in the chat, guys, saying, "Hey, Night and Coriander,
Hello.
hope you are both good. Sweet 16, I like it." Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Well, we'll be talking about it next week, man. So if you're around, definitely come around and
Join us.
talk with us about it. It'll be a
Right?
lot of fun. But anyways, Coriander, we finally watched Mortuary. I know that you're happy
Yay.
about that,
I
and
know.
you've been talking about this movie for a long time, and not that I didn't believe you, but as you
We
know,
can finally
we
check it off.
yes, we could check it off the list. But
Mhm.
doing so many movies, it's tough to keep up with all of them. But I'm glad we got a chance
Yeah.
to watch it. So once again, you've chosen a fantastic movie. So that's just awesome.
Well, it was the book. I mean, you're the one who got us this wonderful book, and
Well,
so
but at some point, I would have watched this movie, and I
yeah.
would have been like,
Because
"Yeah,
before this book, I was telling you you got to watch this movie.
you
So
were,
yes,
you
yeah,
were,
I was.
you were." All right, guys, we're gonna get ready to get on out here. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And if we don't see you before the holidays, definitely have a happy holidays. Be
Yeah.
safe,
Have a
and
safe holiday.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, 2022 is gonna be amazing. So we will catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace out, guys.
Of church.